Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Creator News Live. Holy cow, it feels like it's been forever since I have sat down in the studio. I had to knock off some cobwebs and chase some critters out of the man cave, but we're good. So I'm excited to be here with my good friend, Paul Gowder, who, man, it just feels like we just talked. Just like a few minutes ago. Like it was yesterday. Right.
Yeah.
So we're fresh from the exciting conference. Ecamm had their creator camp. I was able to speak. A bunch of our friends were there. The entire Ecamm fam was there. So it was a lot of fun. We've even got another one of our friends who is waving hi, Mr. Dustin Stout. I talked a lot about you over the weekend, Dustin, about your amazing product, Magi. And it's funny, we're talking about if conferences are worth it. And Dustin is like an old conference buddy. Like we used to go hang out at Social Media Market World. You could always pick out Dustin from the crowd because he'd wear a red V-neck. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we got Fujins here saying, missing you both. We are all back. He's watching over on LinkedIn. Thank you, Fujins. We will see you in a little bit because we'll talk about another conference that we're going to. It's my last one. Paul's got a bunch more too, but so far it's the only one I have on the book. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So, Paul, how are you doing? Have you recovered yet? Because you had a day of travel too.
Yeah, I mean, physically tired, but I come back from conferences, my mind is like just racing all the stuff I want to do. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be able to recover a little bit this weekend and maybe get on this to-do list and all this notes I took.
Oh yeah, lots of notes. And my friend Pat Mills is saying good morning. Good morning to you as well. I think we skipped last week, and so I was actually doing a conference for these great people at Happy Adventures Travel Agency. I did that in Orlando and stayed there for a week and did some Disney stuff with the wife. So I had a good time, but that's why we missed. But we're back talking about conferences because, gosh, it seems like Paul and I have gone to a lot. But we're going to talk all about them today. Are they worth it? Should you go anymore? Or should you spend your money on something else? So we're going to talk about that and why we have gone to so many this year. But, Paul, I'm going to hit go. And we will get started on the amazing podcast machine. So here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Paul Gowder, and this is the show that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the world of the creator economy and so much more.
You ever question whether attending conferences is really worth your time and money? Maybe you wonder how to walk away from an event with more than just a stack of business cards. Or maybe you've been searching for ways to connect with the right people who can truly help you grow as a creator. If so, then you'll want to stick around because today I'm excited to welcome my good friend Paul Gowder, the founder of powwows.com, who has spent 25 years building one of the most vibrant online communities celebrating Native American culture. Paul's going to be sharing his insights, his experiences, and his best strategies for making conferences count. So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind, and get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live. Paul, thank you so much for right after travel coming back in today. This is going to be a fun one. So, and we've got.
Go ahead.
We've got even more
Phil's
people.
here.
Yeah, Phil is coming in. It's true. Dustin, he talked about you, and Phil Palin. His book is amazing. If you haven't checked out his book about AI, and seeing him speak, I know he's rushing off to speak for. To be a part of Adobe Max, so that's a big conference. So this will be a good conversation. So thanks for popping by, Phil. I know you're tired as well because you were doing the conference thing also. So as always, I don't know if you know this, and we talked about this a little bit at the conference we were just at Ecamm's Creator Camp, that I've been doing these little intros for my guests. And of course, because Paul's here, I've got Paul's theme song, so we're going to play that right now.
It's Paul Gowder, they say. He turns email into friends that stay. Builds your brand the inbox way. It's Paul Gowder today.
So that is Paul's theme song. For some reason, his little video didn't come up. We talked about creating those as well. But, anyway, so we had a lot of fun. We actually did a live demo of that inside of the part of the conference that I did. So a lot of fun. I think they're really fun and kind of a little quirky. But we're going to dive right into it. So Paul, you were at Ecamm Creator Conference. So what are your thoughts on conferences in general? Because I want to ask the audience, like, what is the most valuable thing you've ever gotten from a conference? Was it a lessons you learned, a connection you made, or something else? Dustin just chopped in and said he really misses going to conferences. He's just been too busy building and growing the business. Totally understandable. I think we've all been there. I didn't do a lot of conferences last year, so I totally agree. So what do you guys think? Like, what is the thing that you have taken away, one of the biggest things that happened to you maybe in your business from going to a conference? I would love to know. So enter it down below, wherever you're watching from, and we'll try to pull that up on the screen. But Paul, what have some specific benefits you have gained from attending events? Like, we hung out at Creator Camp. We were just there. We did craft and commerce together. CEX, you spoke there as well. You and I are going to get ready to go to Lou Mongello's amazing Momentum Conference in a couple of weeks. We're both speaking at that one. So, and you do powwows, which is a huge event. That's a whole nother scale of what most people do. But what is some of your biggest takeaways or benefits for your business that you have? Like, why do you do this? That's a lot of travel. That's a lot of work to speak. So why do you do it?
It is. It's a lot, and it's expensive, right? I mean, even if you're a speaker and your ticket is paid for, you still have hotel rooms and flights and all this other stuff. I'll give you one specific example, and this has been years ago, but what kind of got me back into going to conferences, especially as a creator. I did them for my full-time job a lot, but I remember going to TBEX, which is a travel conference in Minnesota, and that was probably the first time that I went to a conference where I went and knew somebody and was able to kind of team up, right? I had a wingman. I met up with Lou Mongello there, and having him there. So one of the things they had is it's just a big room full of travel providers. And Lou was the best wingman. I would go and talk to somebody. I'd come back and he'd be like, "Oh, that's great, man. Here, you need to go over here and talk to this." And that kind of stuff, having somebody there supporting you, having your little group was so awesome. And then because of that, because of him encouraging me, I actually got a paid gig from that conference to do some travel influencer stuff. So yeah, I love it. It's the connections, right? That's right. The number one thing. We probably talk a lot about that. It is the connections and having that support group, especially when you do go to conferences, can make a huge difference. Because I'm an introvert. If I had gone to that conference without Lou, I would have sat in the corner, not met with anybody, and just gone to sessions. And if you're doing that, then you're probably not getting the full value out of the conference.
Right. And so to be honest, like that kind of, when you have friends there and they have products that you believe in, like, we've talked about Lou's conference, and like I was able to hang out with Phil, and he's in the chat right now. I was able to actually ride back with them to the airport, and we had a conversation, and we were able to like talk together as speakers. But when we're there, I'm like, hey, when people are asking me questions about AI, I can go like, hey, have you read Phil's book? Like, it's really great. Like, go talk to him. Like, those kind of things where you have like advocates, like you were saying, the wingmen, I think is huge. And it's not salesy. You don't have like your team member going like, hey, here's Jeff, don't look him in the eye, but here's his business card kind of a thing. You have these people who really love you and your product pushing for you. That is where the magic happens. So I totally agree. I think that's really, really important. And there's some great comments we already have coming up. So I want to pull these up. And Dustin says, I do have pending messages on Facebook from someone who wants me to buy a booth spot at one of our favorite conferences next year, which is great. I think you would be good there, but you could also unconference it, and I think you'd still be doing well. And Chris Stone from Cast Ahead says, I like the snacks. And if you like snacks, Chris Stone, you should have went to Creator Camp because they had some epic snacks there. Dustin says, I spoke at a conference in Atlanta in 2019. I met a guy named Casey, and he's one of the biggest reasons that Magi is so successful. And we're going to talk about that more, but I can trace back the connections that I've made at conferences and how my business has, hockey sticked up, I guess is what you would say, because
For sure.
Because of the connections that we've made. I mean, Paul and I run a paid mastermind, and a lot of them are from connections that we are friends with and enjoy hanging out with at conferences. They're part of our group. So it really does make a huge, huge difference. But, Paul, I want to talk about this because, it's a lot. Like, conferences are a lot. Like, you're like me. Like, it's not just I can get, Uber to the airport and I'm done. Like, I can just take a direct flight anywhere. I have to drive hours to the airport and get a direct flight or whatever. And then there's a travel day, and then you're there's an expense of the hotel, there's a ticket, there's food, all this stuff kind of, when you're a solopreneur or a small business, that ain't nothing, right? Like that's an investment. So how do you judge whether a conference is a good investment or not?
Yeah, it's tough. So two things I would say for people kind of judging where to go. One, talk to people that like reach out to Jeff and I, and we'll definitely give you our opinions on different conferences have been to this year, or the past couple of years, and kind of tell you who's it for, right? And find that fit. But I also look for conferences that have opportunities, especially structured opportunities to meet with other people. Like that TBEX event, there was a way for you to schedule meetings with travel vendors. Podfest has like some meetups and some times for you to do that kind of thing. Momentum's really great with its table talks, and the first day we play the bingo, and you have to go around and meet people and cross off your bingo. Those kind of things I look for, again, because if it was left to me, I'd be sitting in a corner just taking notes. So I want ways to force myself to go and talk to people and do that networking, so that I come away with a list of contacts.
Yeah. So we'll dive into some of your strategies a little bit later, but I think for me, if it's a good investment, I do look at the people, I do look at the speaker, what I can, not only the information that I can take away from it, but that's just the first layer. That's just like the icing on the cake, right? Like you said, it's those relationships, those things you meet in the hall. I will skip, unless it's a friend of mine who's speaking. If there's a conversation who's out in the hall that's better, I'll skip what I had planned, because those have always turned into, a better return on investment, or even just like I meet new people, I get them for my show or whatnot. But that's the other thing is like, by going to people's sessions that you admire, if you're a speaker, we notice who's in the room. Like we do. Like if you come to, if I've seen you at all my sessions, like, okay, this guy wants to meet me, I'm going to make time for him. So when you're getting started, going to those people's sessions that you want to connect with and staying and maybe hanging back a little bit, which is really hard for introverts like me. I'm guessing I'm an ambivert. But if you do it and make those connections, people notice and people see you there. And it's not you're not trying to stalk them or something. It's not weird like that. It's just like, you're interested. I have questions. Can I talk? Can I buy you a coffee? Do you have any time? That kind of stuff can really do wonders for your business. So, give me some solid. You mentioned that kind of solid one where you had the kind of a great lead from that. But are there any other things that really led to new opportunities or business growth that you've done from a conference? I mean, speaking gigs for one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think speaking last year at Momentum led to me speaking at CEX, because Lulu was at Momentum and was able to see what I was doing. Earlier this year at Craft and Commerce, I made some contacts, and I'm working on building something I'm going to announce soon. And I was able to email my folks at Kit and say, hey, can you facilitate an introduction? And because of that, I've had like multiple Zoom calls with high ups in that company, giving me strategy sessions, tons of email support. I mean, that would if I had emailed that company without that kind of connection, I would have never gotten past the first level, right? So, and then this past weekend, here's one that's just crazy. I was able to meet with Luria, which I was fanboying because I've followed her for so long.
Callie Lewis,
yeah. In our first conversation, she's like, "Hey, yeah, Lou just was talking to me about you. How can I be of service?" Right. It's like, yeah. And so we had this great conversation about the content of my videos and where to go. And then later I had some questions about some YouTube features that are coming out, and she was able to talk me through that, and then messaged people that she knew. And the next day came back and said, hey, by the way, here's what I found out about these upcoming features and how you can use them. I mean, you never know who's in the room. So, I mean, I try to plan ahead and make a list of people I want to contact, but you never know. Those kind of conversations, I would have never imagined I would have had those kind of really great conversations with her.
Yeah. They what is it? They say your networking is your net worth or something like that. But for me, it's never been like, I'm not collecting people. I'm not, you've seen those people at conferences before where they're just kind of collecting, oh, I know da-da-da-da-da, or I know da-da. And that's not what you want. You want to build almost like your C-suite of people who are interested in what you do and you're friends with. Like, I know, like, if I have an issue with an email sequence, I can get on Messenger and Paul's going to respond to me like, hey, you need to do this, da-da-da. And if he's done it before, it's like, I cannot get this character to work in Midjourney. What do I do? Well, send it to me. Oh, okay, here's what you do. And so you have these people that you can rely on, and you do it. You're smart about it. You're not like I'm not hitting up Paul every 5 minutes like, hey, can you write my email for me? Not like that. But when you have questions, you have these people that you know that can be like, oh, this is what I think. This is what I would do if I was in your situation. Example, Paul is like testing every community thing out there. Like he's got Mighty Networks, he's got Circle, he's trying all these. And so because of what he's been doing, he can advise me on this is what I would suggest for you, just like he would do for a client. So, I mean, that's where the value of these relationships come in. But Paul, I wanted to ask you another question because there's people kind of can maybe get confused between virtual events and actually going to like the actual conference, because a lot of conferences now will offer a virtual ticket. Like, hey, if you can't make it, you can buy this. You don't have to travel, but you can get all the information, which I think is great. So this is my opinion, and you tell me what you think. Virtual conferences are great for information. If you're need to learn how to, hey, I want to learn how to use Descript. Okay, I can go to a virtual conference where Lou Bartone inside of Ecamm's community did a training about it. I can go to that virtual event. But networking is a different matter. It's really hard to network on a virtual event. What are your thoughts? Virtual events, in-person events, what do you like to do?
Yeah, I think there's some really great value in virtual events. And if you're strategic and really go after some knowledge that you need, I think that's great. For me, it's because I'm watching YouTube videos to teach myself all week long. It's hard for me to sit and concentrate on a virtual event. So I try not to do those as much. I want the in-person. I find when I'm sitting in the room, I'm paying more attention. I'm taking more notes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, virtual events do have their place. And especially, for somebody who's on a budget, it's a great way to get that knowledge. But there's nothing like being in the room and, hearing even like this weekend, there were questions and discussions after speakers finished. Ecamm wasn't recording, but, right. I've been at conferences where they've recorded the session, it ended, but it was those conversations on the stage, maybe asking questions or just when the speaker stepped off the stage, those right. next 10-minute conversations where the most value was presented. And so if you're not in the room, you're not going to get that.
Yeah. So when did you start in your business journey investing in like in-person events or conferences, even when it's, it was a significant, like it was a burden, like it was like, okay, it's going to cost me money, but I'm going to do it. Like, when did you realize that was so important?
I'm guessing it was somewhere around the 2016, 2017 era, somewhere in that time frame. And it was because of the encouragement from Lou. Going to that first momentum, which was a stretch for me. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, I was talking with Lou and he invited me to come and speak. So it helped a little bit to offset some of the costs. And then seeing the value I got out of that as a business owner and having that so focused attention and seeing that when I invested in myself, it really paid off. That encouraged me to, and like I said earlier, that was when I went to T-Bex next. Mm-hmm. And it was still a few years before I started going to multiple events in a year. It was because I was doing Lou's Mastermind, which right. I think is, if you can't go to conferences, masterminds are in some cases they're better, but it is the next best thing, right? Yeah. Having that group. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a few years that I've been going to conferences, but going to multiples in a year, that's only been like the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, I would say that probably the last 4 or 5 for me is the same thing.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not speaking, it's worth going because of like the connections we've been talking about, and things happen. Just things happen when you go and get in front of people and kind of pull yourself out of the shell. Chris Stone says, "I stalked both of you guys at Podfest. Thank goodness you didn't run away." Gosh, if we would only have known. If we would only have known, Paul.
But that's a great
Chris.
example. The first time I met Chris, you were talking about skipping sessions.
Right.
I remember that Podfest, and there was a full day. I don't think that any of us went to a session, maybe one, and we sat at a table,
Yeah.
kind of out in the atrium area, and several people stopped in, including Chris, and Jim Fuse, and that was for me, that was like, this is so cool, because I mean, it was Lou and you that were drawing people to the table, but I got to meet so many people that day, and I would have never had those connections had I just spent my whole day going to sessions.
That's a great point. Some more. So Billy Thorpe, who is also at Creator Camp. This is what happens: is everybody comes in dog shit when you're after you've gone to a camp. It's like we got to hang out with Billy quite a bit. So he's amazing. Amazon influencer, learning how to sell stuff online. He is your guy. And then, but mostly Bit Disney says there's a little conference this month I'm looking forward to. Oh, that's right. I want to see Chad there as well. And yeah, it's. He says he wouldn't know either of us without it. So that is very true. You make connections at conferences. This is a great question by Doghouse Dog, which is a great name. Says, love conferences, especially momentum, but what is the best investment after the conference to continue to stay connected, build your network, learn and have accountability daily, weekly, monthly? I want to tell a story, Doghouse Dog, and then Paul, you can follow up. Long time ago, before anything happened, like I was wanting to learn how to do a podcast. I had heard about social media marketing world, and this was like 15 years ago. And I really couldn't afford to fly, didn't want to. So I thought I'd take this epic road trip, right? So I just drove 3 or 4 days. I stayed with he's actually a co-producer on my show, Shannon Hernandez, who we do Guys Kawasaki show together. Stayed at his apartment in Arizona on the way, but it was fun. I got to drive through everything and see everything. It was really cool. But I got to meet these two guys. There was an add-on event after social media marketing world called, it was like Podfest San Diego. And I went there and I met Eric Fisher and Anthony and a bunch of other guys. And from that meeting, we started a mastermind. And so since that time, I have met with Anthony and Eric every Monday, except when I'm traveling, since that time. So it's over 10 years where we've met. And it all came from a conference. So what I would say, Doghouse Dog, is use those. If I tell everybody, if you go to a conference, find a mastermind group. You don't have to stay with them forever if it doesn't work out. But if it does, oh my gosh, you've got your people and you can meet weekly. Like, make a plan. Like, hey, let's all find a time we can meet, and let's meet together every, this time at a certain time. Because all the technology now, it's so easy. Like, and Paul and I meet every week. And it's like when we meet at conferences, it's just continuing the conversation. It's very natural. It's nothing like weird. It's just like, hey, good to see you. We're in real life. Let's go and sit down and talk over here. Like, it's amazing. So I would do that. If you want to connect after the conference, if you went to Ecamm Creator Camp, then go today, make a list of people and send out an email, say, hey, I really enjoyed our conversation. Can we meet like regularly? I mean, Phil and we were talking about AI stuff in the ride back, and he says, we need to do like a quarterly call where we just talk AI. And I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So those things happen when you go and you make yourself available for those things. But if you're back from a conference, make that list and do it today before it goes away.
Man, I'd say take advantage of whatever online tool that the conference uses. Creator Camp has a Facebook group just for attendees. Take advantage of that. Be in that Facebook group, especially afterwards. Reinforce those connections. Maybe add them as friends. I've already friended a bunch of people that I talked to from this weekend, and I've had several people send me requests. And whether it's some people, Craft and Commerce used Mighty Network, so you can be in there messaging people. Take advantage of all those tools that they give you and be in there and reinforce those connections. That's how you're going to continue to have benefit from all those relationships. Don't just let them dry up.
Right.
I was making notes every time somebody came up to me and said, hey, I really want to talk to you about email. I was like, okay, let me write that down. because I don't want to depend on them reaching out to me. I want to, if they were asking me a question, I want to make sure I follow up. So take some notes during the thing and then take advantage of the tools that they give you.
Yeah. And it's okay for you to go, like you can be the bold one that reaches out like, hey, and like you said, if you make notes during the thing, because a lot of times for me, I'm horrible at that. But if I can make notes or even take a picture of people or do a selfie or something and say like, hey, they wanted to know about like this or that, or how to use Midjourney, or how to use create some new song titles or whatever, like that I can help with, and then I have a note for it later. But like even Billy said, so many valuable combos in the halls and hotel lobby. So very true. And Fulgen says, at virtual events, we don't have the chance to have those after-hours connections or side quests, as I call them. I love that. Side quests is exactly what they are. And that's sometimes the side quest can turn into the full quest, and you can forget some of the stuff at the conference. And then I think it's the VHS Club podcast. I think that's Katie. So, Katie, look at you with the thumbnail coming in on YouTube. And, there's so many greats in the comments here. It's so awesome. Your table had the best snacks. So people this is what the cool thing about community is. They start talking to each other inside of the conversation. And then Video Like a Data says, it was great meeting you, Jeff, along with Lou Mangel and Tanya at Podcast Movement. Thanks to Katie for the pre-conference introduction. See, that's what's so cool too, is once you have these people, like I can go to them like, Katie, I've never been able to get this person on my show. I know they were on your show in Ecamm. Can you make me an email introduction? And that's happened just because relationship stuff. So things really, really happen. And then we've got all these people. Gosh, too bad Lou's not here. It's like a commercial for his thing. So Momentum just got me so motivated. I did more than 3 months after that, and I did in the previous year and a half. Paul, my goal for this year is email. See? Look, you're already influenced people. Right. Yeah. And yes, so this is a great question. This wasn't what we're going to talk about, but yes, Paul and I run a paid mastermind group. We do that every Monday. It's Mondays and Fridays, best days of the week, because Monday is mastermind, Friday is this show. So very, very cool. So yes, and really think that's the biggest benefit of conferences. VHS Club says that. Man, we've got all these people chiming in who are going to be at Momentum. So if you haven't been to Momentum, it's worth going. That's where I got to meet all these cool people. So
I see one too, Joe. Emily's talking about meetups. Yeah. So where we were just at Creator Camp, they had an ability in the app or in the Notion to be able to schedule your own meetups. Craft and Commerce had the same thing, or you could just look and find meetups of people maybe you wanted to go and hang out with. So yes, meetups are a great thing. Take advantage of those, or just schedule your own. That's another way to just find these connections and to find your people. Yeah.
So Dustin is actually thinking of starting a paid mastermind group. Oh my gosh, Dustin, let's talk, because that's a great idea. Yeah. But so let's talk. We kind of touched on it, but investing in yourself. This is kind of the last question for this section. Is why it's important to creators to invest in these gatherings even when budgets are tight. It's because this is when things happen. Like if you really, I get it. Like I know a lot of people will, and I'll see them in the groups, like, hey, I need a roommate for going to Social Media Marketing World or Momentum or wherever. That is okay to do. Like when you're starting out, that is fine. If you can find a roommate to cut costs, that's awesome. Like when I was a kid, we got to go to Disney, but we ate our sandwiches out in the parking lot, right? Like sometimes you got to eat peanut butter and jelly in the parking lot, and that's okay. Like that is okay where you're at. So find those ways where you can actually go in and maybe save some money. I know like Social Media Marketing World and a lot of other conferences do this. If you volunteer and spend some time, they'll either give you a discounted ticket or a free ticket. That's an option too. I've seen a lot of people doing that. That is totally cool. Like totally cool. So I know a lot of big time creators who started out doing it that way. So get yourself to these conferences any way you can, because it really does make a huge difference.
And Jeff, Liz Wilcox said, she was talking about another example, but I think she said something really good on the stage, is that you need to look at how you're investing in yourself. She talked about people are willing to buy camera gear and buy the latest mic, but then when it comes to buying kit for your email, right, people are like, oh, it's expensive. Same thing with conferences. really evaluate what you're spending money on. Sometimes the investment in a conference is maybe better than upgrading your mic or something else, right? There's some choices we can all make and try to figure out ways to get to these conferences.
So I just thought of this, a way to evaluate if a conference is good to you. One, go look and see if their community is good. Like if you would go into the Ecamm's community, you would buy a ticket like for next year right now. The same thing with Momentum. If you would go into the community right now and look at the people talking, you'd probably buy a ticket. So I would, instead of looking at what the topic is and who the famous speakers are or whatever, I would go in and look at the community. And if those are your people, then I would say this is one I would invest in, because those people, the community, is really going to be more important than, somebody giving you what's the best way to do Instagram right now, or the best way to make AI images or whatever. That's not going to matter as much as like you connecting with the right people and finding your people, not to sell with per se. That's great if you can, but mostly to help you support you in the business, because this is a lonely place. If you're in Longview, Texas, nobody knows what I do. Nobody. But I can get on a call with Paul and he understands, like, oh yeah, I've had to deal with horrible bookkeepers before and I got in trouble too, and this is how I got out of it. Like that kind of thing. So think that way. So find the people that make the sense with you. Anything else, Paul, before we move on? Next section?
That's a great point. Yeah. It's the communities before and after that can make a huge difference in whether or not a conference is worth it.
Yeah. And then Emily pops this into, says, one more tip: be a volunteer at your favorite event and get behind the scenes point of view. Yeah. So I know Emily does a bunch of stuff for Social Media Marketing World. Yeah. So that's a great idea as well. And then Katie says, exactly right, Jeff. Find the people, not the schedule, that works best for you. That's great information. And by the way, I didn't say this because, I get so excited for this show, but we need to do a shout out for our sponsor of the show, which are the amazing people over at Ecamm that I just got to spend. Look at this. I even brought this is amazing Awala mug that they gave Creator Camp there. But go, if you want to know more about Ecamm, that's what we're doing to produce the show. Find out more at ecamm.com/Jeff. Save 15% on your first purchase. But the other cool thing is that it does so much more for video production. The community, which we've been talking about today, is amazing. So even if you don't go and test out Ecamm right away using my code, go and check out the community, because they are stinking amazing. So many good people there. Alrighty. Second part I want to talk about, making these work for you. And you kind of talked about it a little bit, Paul, and because you do a really good job with this. So can you walk us through your approach to like pre-booking meetings and planning your schedule to make those events worthwhile? Paul's got a plan before the plane touches down, like for conferences.
And I have to do that again, because if I didn't, I would sit in the corner. So the first thing I do is look at who the speakers are and determine if any of those speakers really can address some issues or pain points I have. And so then I make a list of not just like, hey, I want to go and talk to Luria, for example. It's like, if I get a chance to talk with Luria, here's what I'm going to ask her. Same thing like at Craft and Commerce, I wanted to talk to Chanel from Growth in Reverse. Okay, so if I talk to her, here's what I want to ask her, right? And then same thing, I'm in the communities for all of these, and I'm seeing who the other attendees are and making a list of those folks too. It's like, oh, so-and-so is going to be here. I definitely want to try to connect with him and ask him this question. So I'm not feeling like a stalker and just like going up and collecting autographs or selfies with people. Like I really think about what is the value, what would I want to talk with them about? How can they help me? And then go and I have a checklist, right? Here's who I'm going to go and see. The coolest thing at CEX, we got to do that mastermind the first day, and 3 of the people that I had on my list were at my first table, and I was like, dang, this is awesome. Right? This worked out so perfect.
Check.
And then I was able to spend the rest of the week there having multiple conversations with these folks. And it really works out well. So that's what I do, is go through the speakers first and then be in these Facebook groups or the Mighty Network or whatever and figure out who the other people are and if there's a way that you can make a connection.
Yeah. And this sounds weird, but like I look, like when I get requests on Facebook, I look to see who my friends are, because sometimes you get like who are these people? Like, why do they want to connect with me? Which is great. I'm happy for that. But a lot of times I'm like, oh, they're friends with Billy and Paul and Katie. Like, oh my gosh, I need to send a message to these people because they are the same people I hang with. Like, that's important. So that's a great way to kind of to build your network as well. But the thing I do when I go to conferences, and it's really funny, I go mostly to find new guests for this show. Actually, I mean, like it's because I want to introduce them to my audience. And here's the thing: it's most of the time it's not speakers. It's not speakers I see on stage. It's mostly people who come up to me and go like we were at CEX and this guy has a book about visual marketing. I'm like, dude, I need to have you on the show because that's fascinating to me. Let's talk. And like, so that's one coming up. I mean, I think we're booked out until the beginning of the new year from just going to conferences and talking to these people. And so for me, if you're trying to get content for a show or a podcast, don't just like try and wait in line for the speakers and try to get Pat Flynn on your show and all that stuff. That's great. But think about like who would really resonate with your audience. Like that somebody introduced me for the first time on my show, right? Like I was on the very first podcast that got me noticed by other people and whatever. So that everybody starts at zero. Like be that person, like to connect people. That's what I like. I like to get people to get in front of my audience that I really, really like. So that's kind of my goal for the conference. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be more like Paul, but gosh, he's got such a plan that I am not worthy of going to see Paul.
Yeah. And the other thing I always say to myself is like, who can I connect with? Who's going to be beneficial? And then I have a goal of, let me see if I can help one person.
Oh,
like if somebody comes up to me and asks a question, I want to leave a conference, even if I'm not a speaker, is like, I want to make an impact on one person. So I always try to make that's my way of like giving back. I'm going to make all these connections and I'm going to bug all these people figure out a way that I can help at least one person while I was there.
Yeah. The other thing is, and this is just being a good person kind of thing, is if you see somebody on the outskirts, like outside, and like they seem like they're nervous or lonely or whatever, go and talk to them and like invite them in. Like one of the things I think at Social Media Examiner, when they actually taught like a lot of stuff from Disney, is like when you're standing to talking with your friends or people, try to keep it open so somebody feels comfortable coming up to you. And so that's a great tip. Like if you're chatting, and we get it, like we see these people, we don't get to see them very much, so we're really excited to hang out with all these people. Try to leave space so somebody else can come in, because we've all been that person in the room, like, I feel weird kind of a thing. And having that and reach out. And if you go and reach out to somebody at a conference, they are going to be so appreciative of that. I mean, that's a great way to connect. Like, hey, I saw you right here. Like, what are you here? What are you wanting to learn at this conference? Like, what is exciting you right now in the world of business or whatever the conference you're at, and try to do it that way. So I think that's a great way to open it up and not make it so, buddy up, Emily says. So
yes,
make sure you can to do that, and don't leave people out, because that's just, in fact, this is funny. I've done this a couple times now. It's like if I'm on the plane first, and I'm like, because you can see people who come on the plane, or you see them in the waiting around for your flight because it's delayed or whatever, and they've been at the same conference. Like I like to wait. Like if for some reason I'm not there, or I see them standing at the airport and going, hey, I saw you. We didn't get a chance to talk at Momentum or wherever, Creator Camp. I'm so glad that we were able to bump into each other at the airport. And that's another great thing you can do. And relationships are built because of that. So kind of try to think outside of the box and things you do. So here's the question, Paul. How do you balance attending talks or workshops with spending time in the hallways? Because a lot of times there is something you want to maybe go listen to. Like I want to go hear Dustin talk about what's new in Magi. Like I want to get in that room. But you've got people who are like, hey, I want to ask you some questions, Paul, about email. Can you sit and talk for a little bit? So how do you balance, like, gotta go, Dustin's on stage, to, like, being really engaged in a conversation?
It is a tough balance, and you don't know what's going to be said in a session that might trigger. I try to plan as much ahead as possible. I'll go through and select, like at a PodFest, for example, where there's so many sessions going on at one time, you just can't attend all of them. So I'll go through and mark, like, here are the ones I have to go to that are, there's something going to be said. I need to be in this room. And then there's other ones that, hey, if I have a chance, I'd like to go see these. And so then I know, hey, if there's a good conversation happening, or if there's a good chance of me hanging out at a table out in the hallway and making a connection, It's okay. It's okay. I have a list of things I can skip, and I'll try to figure out later. But it is tough, and even sometimes I'll miss some of those ones that I marked as a must
Mm-hmm.
do because I'm having a conversation like that year at Podfest. We just sat at the table.
Right.
I missed a lot of the ones I said I had to go to, but I didn't want to leave that table because we were having so many good conversations.
Yeah. My rule is anymore with conferences is that my whole thing is I go to and support my friends. Like if Paul's speaking, I'm in the room. Like if Lou's speaking, I'm in the room. If Dustin's speaking, I'm in the room. Or if somebody asks me like, Jeff, would you come listen to my talk? I'd really like you there. I'm like, yeah, I will do it. And so I try to do that. And those are the priority, even if I've heard their talk before, because I know as a speaker, like having a friendly face and somebody who's not in their phone going, yeah, that's really good what you're saying, Paul, makes a difference to the speaker. So I want to be that to those people. So that's kind of my rule. And then the rest is like, I want to hang out and talk and meet new people and see those people on the fringes that invite them in or whatever. And so I'm not perfect at that. And I know I hate it when you're talking with somebody and you can tell there's somebody more famous over there. I'm going to go talk to them. You can see them disconnect. I don't want to be that person. And I know I have before probably, and I don't want to do that. So I'm very conscious of trying not to do that. But I really want to be engaged and try to really focus and have those people feel like they're heard, because I think that's so important just to communicate now. So do you have any specific like rituals or habits that you do, like note-taking or follow-up things to ensure that like after the event you just don't like, oh, I'm done, I don't have to travel? There's stuff. Do you have any like systems that you do? Do you have like, I'm going to wait 3 days and then call these people? How do you usually do that, Paul?
I don't have a system or schedule, but I make a lot of notes. I need to get better. I need to talk with Joe Moore, who another person was at Creator Camp and does a great job note taking and automations. My notes are kind of spread everywhere. I've got some in my Asana. I got some in my notes. I got some in email. But I was just writing stuff all weekend. Maybe I'm going to be like Phil and buy that Plod device he talked about. And thank you for all the people at Creator Camp making me spend money. Right. So I don't have a good system. Like I just take a ton of notes and then I'll spend today and tomorrow going through those notes and figuring out what I need to do from here. It's not perfect. That's one of the things I definitely need to get better, especially, figuring out as we got more conferences coming up next year. I want to have a better system. I loved Joe had, again, talking about his automations, he had different focus modes on his phone. And so he has a conference one, which pops up a QR code that people can scan. And so that was I'm sure he's capturing those people and then he can follow up with them later. Yeah, I want to systematize this more, because I know I'm probably leaving some on the table. For me, it's just taking a ton of notes and then spending some time going back through them. Yeah,
and Plod, the tool that he mentioned, and Katie Brinkley had one on her wrist that she was carrying around, but I got one too. Like I bought it when she was talking, so I got the new one coming, because it's really great to be able to summarize stuff. Because even if you're there as a speaker, you're like, people are coming and asking you questions. Those are a great way to create content, like those questions you're getting asked, like, and not losing them. Right now, I'm doing the same as you. I have pretty much a checklist. Like I just use the notes pad because it's right there on my phone. I can hey, follow with Katie about this later, or hey, Voz asked me about AI images. How, what can I do? Send him an email, or those kind of things. I think, and then following up. If you're getting I usually go back and when I have a stack of business cards, and I usually either scan them or I go through the ones that I really want to follow up or who ask me to follow up, then I will make a note of those. And I have to do those like pretty quick when I get back. Otherwise, it's gone because, squirrel, next thing. Exactly. So I think it's important to have a system, even if it's like a little checklist that you make on your phone. Super, super important. And this is a great comment, and I think we need to talk about this for Rich. He goes, my struggle is shutting down the business to take days off during a work week for these in-person events. And Katie came back and said, yeah, that can be really hard, Rich. Even at Ecamm, I find that I'm staying up late and waking up early to catch up on email and social in between events. So, Paul, the struggle is real. How do you do it?
It's tough. So we got into for Creator Camp, we got in at like a day and a half early. And so the first full day we had, Kelly and I woke up and we spent the first few hours of that day working. We went and had breakfast and then came back to the hotel, worked for a couple hours, and then went out and kind of explored. So I'll, try to take some downtime or to do that. I also try to, for me, you guys have heard me say this before, email is really the center of what I do at powells.com. So I will, if I can, try to write out emails and schedule them ahead of time so that I'm not missing them while I'm traveling. I don't always do a great job. Yesterday, we got to the airport a little early, and I sat there and wrote an email for yesterday's travel section. So yeah, it is, Rich, it's hard. Try to do as much ahead as possible, and then find some downtime, or if you're like Katie, stay up late if you have to. But it is tough. I mean, that's what we're all here. Most of us solopreneurs, and we're the business. And so if we're away, the business doesn't operate. Yes, find some systems that you can do ahead of time, or just find some cracks where you can take a few minutes. It's hard.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I'm very blessed that I have my daughter working for me now, so I can send her some things. But there's still, like, I was still editing some stuff for Guy because his show comes out on Wednesdays, and that was the middle of the thing. And so what I have done is try to recreate my office at home as much as I can instead of a travel kit. Like, if I have to go live, I have a camera I can use. I have a little thing that goes on the back of my phone I can put on here on my laptop, and it has a pretty decent camera. I have another one of my MX mouses that I travel with. This is the one that stays here because I have to edit. And I talked about this a little bit in my talk at Ecamm, but there's this little side button right here, this little scroll wheel, because I have to scroll through the timeline into script. And so if I don't have that, then that's another layer of friction when I'm working. And even here's it's so super nerdy. I know it is. But I bring my Apple Vision Pro with me because I have a widescreen here, and I hate working on editing stuff without my widescreen monitor. So I am the nerd guy alone in his hotel room with the glasses on, working away at his computer. But it works for me. So you need to find the workflows that can help reduce the friction when you're traveling. This is the only way that I can do it. And then build yourself a travel kit, like to take with you that you can do your business. If you have a keyboard that you feel like you can only write emails on, like figure out a way to pack that in your luggage. Like try to make it move with you as easy and as seamless as possible. For me, that has helped me get the most work done. But it is tough. But like, I mean, even our friend Rich Watts, he goes there early and he'll have to go and work on stuff for his job, and then he'll come back and do his PR stuff that he does for his racing stuff. So you just have to have those workflows in place, is what I would say. But the struggle is real. It really does. Yeah. So anybody below has any great tips, let us know. What were you going to say, Paul? Sorry.
I was going to say, Kelly. Yeah, Kelly likes having dual monitors, so she has a travel monitor that she takes with her, and she can attach to her laptop to give her that extra screen, as well as she takes her mouse and keyboard because she knows she's going to be more efficient if she has as much like her desk as she can. So yeah, that's that kind of stuff. And so whether you travel with the same computer that you're using at home, or just try to make sure that they're synced as much as possible with the same app. Yeah, reduce it as much friction as you can.
Yeah. So before we go to the next section, I just want to do another shout out to our friends over at Ecamm, ecamm.com/Jeff. Amazing conference. And by the way, little secret, they're going to be in the UK. They're doing a little tag on event with a YouTube conference, I believe, over there, but it's going to be Creator Camp UK. Like, holy cow, how cool is that? So make sure you go to ecamm.com and check that out. That's one I just may have to go to. We'll have to see. But anyway, yeah, ecamm.com/Jeff. And old Billy says, I just try to make 100 videos in the week before. Like, so Billy, like, it would be a little hard because he's a big YouTube, Amazon influencer doing brand deals and all this stuff. So yeah, working ahead. But like this guy can bang them out. Like, he's just going crazy. So if you don't know Billy, make sure you guys go check him out and follow him. All right, so the last one. This is maybe the most important one. Building relationships. We've talked about it the entire time. But what does finding your people, Paul, at a conference, what does that look like in practice? Like, how do you know you're in the right circle or you're in the right group? Like, how do you know that? Like, what makes you invest more in the people that you find at conferences?
it's people that, for me, it's people that make me better and support me. So like I talked about that first conference I went to with Lou, and he was, standing there every time I would come back from a meeting. He would be, "Hey, what did you learn? Okay, well, all right, what's the strategy for the next person? Let's do that." It's the people that, will help me and I feel like they're pushing me to be better. And it is so important though to find those right people. And there are people that you're going to hang out with at conferences that may not be, that still may be a valuable resource, but maybe they're not your wingman kind of
Mm-hmm.
people,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. You still need those relationships too. But I think we've been really fortunate. We have a good little core that we've been to several conferences now together. And it's how to find them is hard. But I'd say go say yes to everything. If somebody asks you to go get drinks, say yes. If somebody asks you to go have lunch, say yes. Meet as many people as you can, and you'll figure out. Lou always talks about in his show, be your authentic self, and you'll attract like-minded people. I think that's same thing as conference. Just be yourself, and you'll attract people that are like you.
It's interesting that you said, just say yes to everything. Because I remember specifically a couple of nights ago, somebody asked you to do karaoke and you said no. So I'm
Oh yeah.
there are certain exceptions. Right.
Did you see those people singing?
Oh my
There's
gosh.
no way.
We had like a backup singer to Diana Ross, and then Laura Davidson from
Oh
Shure.
my gosh.
Like she takes her glasses off, and like Lou said, like she turns into Superman, like from Clark Kent. She like it was like Michelle Pfeiffer on the piano. It was like crazy. Like holy cow, who is this person? So anyway,
I was showing those videos yesterday. I'm like, there's no way I don't do karaoke.
go after
There's
that.
no way I
Yeah.
them. No.
But see, that's the
Even
stuff
Doc
you learn.
told me.
Yeah. Yeah. Doc was crazy too. Anyway, so what do you think is the reason when somebody goes to like an event, how do they decide which ones are worth going to year after year? So we all know we've talked about momentum. You and I, you've gone longer than me. I've gone for 4 years. Go to Social Media Marketing World. Why do you decide to go back? Like what's the reason?
Ooh, that's tough. I go back to a conference again. I mean, we said this so many times. It's not for the sessions. Even though like it was the first time I went to Craft and Commerce this year, and I wanted to go because there were people there I wanted to meet, but also there was a couple of keynotes that I really wanted to hear and I wanted to be in the room for. But I would only go back to Craft and Commerce now because of the relationships that we had. So I'm looking for repeat things is, it is those times where we can network. Um, there was, what was it, 2 years ago at Podfest that we were at the questionable hotel that has been destroyed and torn down.
Yeah.
If that was my first time at Podfest, I don't know that I would have gone back if I had just attended sessions, right? It was definitely the conversations and the other things that made that a standout event. So for me, it is going to be like, if I look back and say, what did I get out of this? What were the lasting connections I made? Then that's what I'm going to go back to. And momentum, the reason I go back every year, and you and I are going to speak again this year. I've heard you speak two or three times this year already.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But same thing. I've heard Lou speak now 3 times
Right.
this year, and I'm going to hear him speak again at Momentum. I get a little something different out of every time you guys speak, but I'm not going back to Momentum to hear you speak again. I'm going back to Momentum because I know that there are going to be times during the day where I get to sit and ask questions or just be in the room when a conversation is happening. That's so important. I mean, here's another example at Creator Camp. I just happened to be standing in the hallway talking to somebody, and another couple people walked up, and all of a sudden I'm hearing all this talk about what's coming in Ecamm. I know, Katie, I'm not going to say anything that we're not supposed to, but
Right.
all of a sudden I was in this conversation with the developers of Ecamm, and they're talking about how it's going to work, what it's going to be done. I'm like, oh my God, I would have never been in this conversation if I was at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make me want to go back because wow, that was a really impactful conversation. And I'm already thinking about, okay, these things that are coming in Ecamm, how am I going to use that for my business? So yeah, that's going to make me want to jump back and go
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. It's the relationships you make. And seriously, these people are my friends and colleagues now. Like, I want to, if I know Paul's going to be at a conference, like, I'm thinking like, okay, how can I get there? Like, you know what? Because you want to be in the rooms with those people more and more. Like, we've been able to do like 2 escape rooms, which sound like so bonkers. We go early and we do that, and we had a blast. And it's those kind of things where you get to go together. Paul and I, go out to and eat and have a great time talking about things in our lives and things we're into. And so, like, that kind of stuff, it solidifies stuff, and it makes your business better. I know it doesn't. You don't see any like, oh, Paul gave me 10 tips to make my emails always get opened. Like, that's not what we sit around talking about. But it's the relationships and the know that you have support that makes you breathe a little bit easier. Things get a little bit easier in your business, and you're able to be more creative, I think, by the end of the day. Emily, and so I got to pull up these. Katie says, yeah, Paul, why did you say no to karaoke? Come on. We're all waiting for you to sing Brick House. And then Emily says, this is a great piece of advice. She goes, put yourself in training leading up to the event. Know you'll be living on fumes, but when you say yes, it's going to pay out. So very true. I know it's because Paul and I do these shows. He's come on this show before. We speak. It seems like, for us, it'd be so easy, like, to go into these kind of situations. It's still hard. Like, I've gone, I think I wrote about it in an email, to this conference where I didn't know anybody, and it was really awkward. Like, I felt like, why am I here? I'm never going to do this again. So I get it. It may seem like they don't have any of those problems because they go live and whatever. That's not true. It's still a struggle, and you have to, like Emily said, put yourself in training. Do like Paul, make a plan, and really, just don't buy a ticket and just show up. Like, make a plan, make it because you're investing this time and this money. Make it be something valuable, and that's all on you. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say, so day 2, I think, of Creator Camp, I got into the room earlier than most people, and I was sitting at our table. You guys weren't there yet. Conversations were starting to happen, and I felt myself just coming in like, I didn't want to move from that table. I was like, okay, nobody's here that I know. I'm just going to sit here. And it was a struggle. And I didn't get up for a while. I sat there and just kind of looked on my phone. And I really had to say, okay, get back in the conference mode. I'm going to do something, get up and talk to somebody. But yeah. And again, once my people got in the room and you guys at the table, I felt more emboldened to go, okay, I'm going to go talk to somebody. Right. So yeah, do find your supportive group. It does help.
And I would love to know from you guys down below, like, who is somebody you met at a conference that you're still connected with today? I would love to know some of those people. I've got, like, so many people that are in the chat, happened at a conference, got to hang out. Like, I think Billy was, the first time I got to hang out with him was at, maybe it was Podfest. I think maybe in, like, the Amazon day they did. And Emily, as always, got a great tip. She goes, last tip, don't just show up and throw up. That's good. Don't throw. That would be me. Have that plan, pre-event networking online, and be intentional and have a plan to follow up. So very true. The plan to follow up is important, but being intentional is great. Paul, do you have any other closing thoughts before we wrap things up?
I mean, thanks to, if you're looking for great events and where to go, also go in their communities and see. Having people like a Lou, if you go to Lou's, he's going to make sure that you find your way around the room. Katie and Doc and Caleb did a great job of coming around and facilitating conversations, making connections. So look for conferences where they have a community and it's a very vibrant, active community, and you're probably going to feel okay there. And again, just reach out to people you know, and if you're looking at going, and just ask, hey, is this something I should go to? There's some that I'm probably not going to go back to, again, but yeah, ask around. It is, but it is hard to justify. So yeah, do your due diligence before you take on that expense.
And if you have been to a conference, maybe more than once, or you're going to a conference and you know other people, be that connector. Like, be that person going like, hey, do you know Paul? He's got like 1 million people on his Facebook page. Like, he knows this stuff. Like, you need to talk to him because he's dealing with the same thing you are. So being that person and like dragging people together, like, that's one of the best things you can do. And people will remember that too, that you're that connector person. So very, very cool. Paul, tell people where they can find you, all the stuff you've got going on and your group and all that.
Yeah, so if you are interested in learning more about powwows, Native American Heritage Month is coming up in November, so I'd love to make that happen for you and help you experience, connect, and explore Native culture. You can find that over at powwows.com/powwow101, or if you want to learn more about what I do as far as helping people create that dream lifestyle, if you want to cruise like we do, you can do it with side hustles or your business. Check me out over at paulgowder.com.
That's right. Very, very cool. Thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, thanks to our friends over at Ecamm, ecamm.com/Jeff. I would love for you guys to be able to connect with me on my newsletter. Hopefully you guys in the comments already. But if not, jeffc.com/news. Usually 2 emails a week, never spammy, hopefully entertaining and informative. So jeffc.com/news. And with that, thank you guys so much. Thank you to Katie in the chat. We've got so many other people who, like Fujins showed up, Emily, Billy Thorpe, who is amazing, so many people, and of course Rich Graham as well. Thank you guys for coming and watching and participating each week. We wouldn't be able to do this show without you. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.